Good morning, Panthers, and welcome to the final episode of Panther TV for the 2022 to 2023 school year. I'm Dean Gillard.
And I'm Forrest Huff. We don't have a lot of announcements for today, but we do have plenty of things to go through, so this episode will look a little different than most.
All 4 of this year's PTV seniors will be anchoring today. In our final send-off to the class of 2023, we want to go over our history at NPHS.
In 2019, when we entered NP as tiny freshmen, this school and world was a completely different place. We felt some sort of normalcy, or at least as much normalcy as a freshman can feel. At the end of 2019, we began to hear about a virus spreading across the world. Soon, it made its way to the US, then to California, to Ventura County, and to Newbury Park. What we thought would be an extra long spring break turned into over a year of online school. Zoom meetings and a whole lot of Quizlet. If you are one of my teachers that had over online school, ignore that.
Like Forrest said, the 2020 to 2021 school year was confusing, to say the least. Whether you had the morning or afternoon cohort, it was pretty nice to only have class for 2 hours a day. It seemed like going back to normal reality was both around the corner and an eternity away. Luckily, some students were able to return in the spring with sports gaining a modified season. While the year didn't turn out how many wanted it to, we were still able to enjoy the year.
With the chaos of the 2020-2021 school year, many people found themselves in places of stress, anxiety, and mental health struggles. One counselor here at NP has found both joy and purpose in helping many individuals in need of support. With more info on how Mr. Napora is making an impact on Newbury Park High School and the Conejo Valley at large, here's David.
I love spending quality time with my closest friends and pets. For Newbury Park School Counselor Rick Napora, however, he prefers sharing his pets with those who could really use their company. Let's take a look at what Rick Napora and his therapy dogs do for others.
Sure, I have 3 therapy dogs. One's a French Bulldog, the other one's a Mastiff, and I also have what's called a Formosan Mountain Dog, which came from Taiwan. So I've always loved dogs. I found that they have like a profound impact on people, and so people had seen us out with our dogs and said, have you ever thought of getting, them therapy certified? But then I went to the hospital for a eye checkup, and then a lady had brought in a couple of poodles, and I was petting them, and I'm like, this is great. I'm like passing the time, and I get to spend time with the dog, and I'm connected the dots, and I thought, can I get my dogs therapy certified? I found an organization called ATD, and there's another one called Love on a Leash. And so I went through all the hoops and got them therapy certified and realized that they're like game changers.
However, Mr. Napora uses his dogs for more than just companionship.
So I work at a couple of different places. One is LAX, and so what they do, they walk in and around the terminal, and so you'll often see miserable people at the airport that are upset because their flight was canceled or because their flight was late. I found that just by simply walking up to them with a dog that says "pet me" all over it, their demeanor changes. And then we also work at Kaiser Permanente. We walk through the wards and we'll see patients that's just has nobody there because there's limited contact, and then they'll see our dogs and they just light up, and they would say things like, you've really made my day, or you can't imagine how much this has meant to me. And it's like the whole unconditional love thing, like they don't judge you. You can be having a horrible day, or you can just be yourself, whatever flaws you have, and the dog is like always like right there. I believe that anybody can find a companion like the ones that I have, and then the rewards are completely worth it.
Reporting for PTV, I'm David Valens.
What's up, Panthers? It's your favorite anchor here, back for one final show for your viewing pleasure. I'm Jack Gurman.
And I'm Tyson Grimes. Jack, why don't we get back to our high school recap that Dean and Forrest started?
Great idea, Tyson. This is why I love you and the script you wrote entirely by yourself. You're always there to get me back on track. When the 2021-2022 school year started, there was a lot of optimism. We were finally able to go back on campus, hang out with friends, and do normal school activities. Even though we did have to wear masks for most of the year, it was such a relief to be back in the swing of things. We had a homecoming, a prom, and a graduation. It definitely wasn't fully normal, but it felt nice to be back on campus. Honestly, I never thought I'd say that, but here I am.
And finally, that takes us to this year, our first normal year of high school. This year has both taken forever and flown by at the same time. With college applications beginning almost as soon as we got back, the year has been busy to say the least. But that doesn't mean it hasn't been enjoyable. This year has been one of trying new things, even for me. For example, a couple months ago, I lied to one of my teachers. I told him I was doing a project on the history of Newbury Park and NPHS, but I wasn't. I couldn't tell him the truth because I knew he was too humble to go along with it if he knew the story was all about him. Mr. Johnson, I'm sorry for lying, but I'd do it again if I had to. I hope this makes it worth it.
Having Mr. Johnson as a teacher was an awesome experience. One of my favorite teachers of all time.
I've been teaching at Newbury Park High School for 29 years. I'm also a graduate of Newbury Park High School. When I moved into this room, it was really ugly, and I figured, well, why not let my students decorate it? And so over the years, the students have sent me postcards, for instance, or made posters about historical events or about their own background. So more and more gets added every year, and now there are several layers on each wall, and it's almost like peeling back history to find out who had come before them.
He's an incredible lecturer, and I think that that is probably what got me into history the most, is he would be telling, some sort of historical line of events, and then he'd include some sort of really cool story in there that would make the listener want to just hear more. He always presented things in such a way that allowed the listener to absorb all these different things and then come up with his own opinion.
In addition to teaching, Mr. Johnson volunteers his time and classroom space as the advisor of multiple clubs on campus.
Grow Up is a UN initiative. It's from the United Nations, and it's a club on campus that's dedicated towards teaching people about equality. You would think it's weird, right, to have like a female empowerment club with a dude advisor. You're just like, oh, that doesn't make sense. But for Mr. J, honestly, I couldn't think of someone else on campus that would make more sense. I think as a person, Mr. Johnson is like a father figure in a sense to some of his students. Like, he provides us with such wisdom and respect every day in class. Not only am I learning about history, but I'm also learning outside of the classroom.
Mr. Johnson is an exceptionally reliable person and also exceptionally genuine. And he's always good for advice. He's always gonna give you sound advice, and it's always delivered through the philosophy that he lives, which is patience and poise under pressure. And if you can remember the 3 Ps, then almost whatever it is that you're doing, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I think the best advice I could give to teachers is to be involved in the school. I think building the relationships you can have with students is so much more meaningful when you see what's meaningful to them. And I've really enjoyed, going to athletic events, going to concerts, plays, things that my students are doing. So I can support them, but also to see them in a different light. The day-to-day interactions with students never fail to make me laugh, to inspire me, I learn from them. I'm just gonna miss being here on a day-to-day basis.
Mr. Johnson, we love you here. We're gonna miss you here. Create a great time in Europe and Ireland and all the other travels that you're gonna do, especially that road trip across the United States. And I know that you won't forget us. But please visit as often as possible.
Mr. Johnson, I speak for myself, my classmates, and the thousands of other students you have impacted in your career when I say that our high school experiences would not have been the same if you were not a part of them. Your kindness, genuine care, and devotion to making this community and this world a better place has not gone unnoticed. This school will miss you deeply in your retirement, but we know that you have so much to do around the world. In your travels, remember the 3 Ps and that your attitude will determine your altitude. Thank you for all that you have done for me, all the other students you've taught, and for Newbury Park High School. And of course, War Eagle.
We also wanted to extend a huge thank you to the other NPHS staff members who are retiring. Thank you, Ms. Lemieux and Ms. Cohen, for your endless devotion to your students and community. We are grateful beyond words for your commitment and service.
And now, with a special Panther window, here is honorary PTV Senior Liam Mystery with a look into the newest Marvel movie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Hey Panthers, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 just came out in theaters, and here's what you need to know about it, spoiler free. The film is about Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, and his friends protecting Rocket Raccoon from the High Evolutionary, who experimented on Rocket when he was a baby raccoon, and mutated him into a talking raccoon on the planet Half-World. On their last ride, they run into Gamora, but it's not the same Gamora that Peter knew. It's the 2014 Gamora that was in Avengers Endgame, and now she became a Ravager with Stakar Gore, played by Rocky himself, Sylvester Stallone. The 2 new characters are Adam Warlock, who was teased at the end credits of Guardians Volume 2, and Cosmo the Space Dog, who was in the Guardians Holiday Special, which is now on Disney+. This will also be the last Marvel Studios film that James Gunn did, since he became the new CEO of DC Studios over at Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank, California. Tickets are on sale now, and make sure you Panthers see it. That is it for the day. Now back to the desk.
And just like that, our last PTV episode is coming to an end.
There's going to be a lot I miss about this place. The friends, the mutual suffering over busy work, and most of all, seeing my dad on campus and having him as a teacher. I didn't know that guy could be so cool.
I've never been much of a school lover, but I'm gonna miss this place too. My mom never thought I'd say that, but I guess I'm full of surprises.
To all the other seniors, whether you're staying local at Cal Lu or Moore Park, heading off to Berkeley, going to Grand Canyon in Phoenix, or some other wonderful place, we wish you the best of luck.
And so, for the last time, I'm Tyson Grimes.
I'm Jack German.
I'm Dean Gillard.
And I'm Forrest Huff.
Have a great weekend, Panthers.